So, if you're in a moment where life is asking a lot of you and your body is already carrying a lot, hear me on this. Remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been living in a body that hasn't been understood. So, I'm taking this next year choosing care, not perfection, not a guarantee, just care.
Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic symptoms, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, well, this podcast is for you because your body is not lying and neither are you. Hi, I'm Donna Piper, movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being dismissed, misdiagnosed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell our truth. Here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, and the kind of symptoms that don't always show up on lab results. We're going to explore lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, books, relationships, basically everything. All from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing your body. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers.
Hey, friend, running low? Me too. I'm Donna. This is Dear Body, I'm Listening. We're in it together. Hey, love, welcome back to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Today's a personal one. It's not very polished. It's more off the cuff. But here's my real life. I am packing to move my apartment. That's a long other story, but we'll be moving tomorrow, which would be January 4th and 5th. And then I fly to Germany on January 8th. So I'm really getting excited, nervous, a little bit of grumpy, all the emotions for surgery and also moving. So I think they're both compiled into one. So if you're in a season of life stacking big things on top of big things and your body's like, excuse me, can we not? You're in the right place. And if you're listening because you're curious about why someone would choose to go to Germany and they live in Southern California for a lipedema reduction surgery, and you might be weighing your options about surgery or just trying to understand why someone would choose surgery over conservative treatments, or if you're just in the process of your life and you need to make a big medical decision, it's important, or it has been important for me to go slowly through this process as much as I wanted to speed up sometimes, but to really make sure that my nervous system, everything was in alignment so I can make these huge moves on top of healing. Because I'd like to remind you, I am going to be 55 in February, so I'm 54. I'm diagnosed with lipedema stage type 2, or stage 2, type 3 and 4. So there's like 3 stages, basically. They're changing that a little bit, but I'm in the second stage. I'm 5'4", 5'3", 5'4", depending on who's measuring me, and I weigh 175 pounds. I've done many conservative treatments. I also have ME/chronic fatigue syndrome, diagnosed by Dr. Perrin. I have so hypermobility, EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have POTS, which is, we'll figure out how to pronounce it one day. And then I also have MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. So those are all my diagnosable diseases. And I have been focusing on getting my ME/chronic fatigue syndrome in a place where I can function a little better. Also wanting my lipedema not to get any more bulking added, to kind of maintain that. I would have loved to if it was reduced, but the conservative treatments that I have done, from nutrition all the way to compression and everything in between, has maintained my stage, but it definitely hasn't shrunk by any means. So let's get into it. Real talk, no gloss, just us. Now let's dive in. So why lipedema surgery in Germany? So I live in Newport Beach in California. I lived in LA for about 20 years. We just moved down here last year. And hence why I'm moving. The apartment we chose and the complex we chose to kind of get our feet wet down here and figure out what Orange County is like compared to LA County was a great location. I have a beautiful view of the ocean every day. And on the other side of our apartment, we have the view of the Back Bay. But 2 weeks after we moved in, they put a notice on our door saying that we'd have to move out temporarily in the winter of 2025, 2026. So here it is, the winter of 2025, 2026, and we are moving temporarily to another apartment on the other side of the complex while our building is getting renovated. It's a re-roof. I don't know if they're doing some internal things, but new windows, they're tearing down and rebuilding all the decks, etc. So we're going to be in the other place. They said 4 months initially, but on our temporary lease, it's at 7.5. So we'll see. So it just so happened that we needed to pick this day, like this is when it is to move. So it happens to be 3 days before I go to Germany for my surgery. So why would someone living in Southern California choose Bad Belzing, Germany? Well, I did a lot of research and I had another doctor overseas that I was leaning towards in Spain. But with my life circumstances, I'm fortunate that numerous people have offered to go with me, my mother, my mother-in-law, friends. But I really felt like I wanted to go solo, especially for the first one, because I'm not a very good patient and I really wanted to kind of just take this time to heal. I know myself, even if other people are there for me, I would be worried like, oh God, they've taken all this time to be here with me. How are they doing? What are they doing? And this is something that has affected me my whole life, but I didn't know about it. So it was a very emotional kind of mind, then put in the F word because I was very active. I ate very well. I did all these things, and my thighs never seemed to be thin. Then once my weight started going up rapidly in a short amount of time, I was freaking out. So psychologically, my weight has always been like my biggest Achilles heel. If only I were skinny is an episode I did that is in one of the earlier episodes when I started this podcast. And really it's the weight on my thighs have always been a thing. But I also really wanted to I was hoping for a miracle and that maybe all these conservative treatments would drastically work for me. They didn't. And I became a carnivore, which I do like, and I think it's very useful and helpful. It helps reduce pain, especially if you have MCAS, because I'm dealing with 5 different diseases over here. So it's not just one simple kind of linear plan and things got better. And then in the middle of this, I figured out that I had ME/chronic fatigue syndrome, which is own animal. And it's really hard to put a lot of energy into healing, and conservative treatments and any treatment takes a lot of energy. Even, healing does take a lot of energy, period. So I needed to fix that or help manage that or help heal it, whatever you want to say. And I have for the last year. I've been doing the parent technique. I've also done fascial counterstrain. And then I also have essential lymphatic disorder where I need to, it, my, all the lymph things that I've done don't really work for me like they work for other people. So in talking to my doctors and doing all these conservative treatments and talking to my MLD therapist, I really found that I needed a doctor that had a lot of experience because of all my different complications, my comorbidities. And since I wanted to go alone, not only is Dr. Goat's been doing this for 25 years, he's a patient advocate. They're very patient forward, but you get to stay in a hospital for 7 days for international patients. And then I'm going to continue to stay there for a few weeks afterwards. So all in all, from when I leave on the 8th, I'll be back on February 4th. So my surgery is January 16th because I didn't really know how, with fares for flights, how far in advance I should go, what my fatigue would be like. I didn't really want to leave on a Tuesday here and show up on a Wednesday there and then do pre-op Thursday and surgery Friday. For me, that was too soon. And I also wanted to check out all the different places I'll be going. So when I backtrack and after I've had this very traumatic surgery, I wanted to be familiar with the cities and the systems and the taxi systems and the trains if I choose to take those. So I'm doing a little reconnaissance before my surgery, and then I'm going to just focus on healing in Potsdam after my surgery. And that's really why the reason I chose them, because of the aftercare. And they've been doing it for a long time. They have a lot of strict protocols about compression and food and supplements and things. And so I wanted to go to a doctor that was going to maximize how much of the lipedema disease fat that he could take out. Because right now my goal is really to debulk as much as possible and then worry about aesthetics later. Although I'm sure I will be saying that, crying and being like, oh my God, my legs look worse for a little bit. But movement and less pain is why I'm doing this and why I've chose to go to Germany.
Now it's time for the connective thread, where the story meets the science.
So I'll have more data when it comes to like the surgery, what it is. There's lots of stuff online about lipedema. Lipedema reduction surgery, fortunately, is getting more popular, which is wonderful. But, surgery isn't your only option, and surgery isn't a miracle, and you still need to continue to do conservative things like food always. We have, or I have, because I have a connective tissue disorder, between that and hEDS, the MCAS, all of these things are always going to be a part, the POTS are going to be a part of my life. Hopefully the symptoms will be less. However, I'm still going to have to manage my life in that way. So even though I am treating the lipedema right now, the food still applies because of the MCAS and the inflammation issues. And I still need to watch how much energy I put out because I'm still in the middle of my ME, chronic fatigue syndrome healing, which there is a good chance. And the only thing that I'm worried about is that my chronic fatigue will flare up to an all-time low, how it was a year ago. So I'm really working with my MLD therapist, and I've been seeing an upper cervical care physician that's really helping me kind of make sure my structure is better so that I have optimal blood flow. So I'm doing all these things, and I will continue to do all these things. But until January 6th, well, probably late sometime on January 16th or January 17th, will I really know more of the nitty-gritty and the real life workings of the science of why compression is great to put onto your skin afterwards, how it holds it back, how the cells have to reattach, your skin has to reattach, how your nerve endings need to rewire themselves. And it takes about a year after surgery to really start to see the results. So I'm doing 3. So I'm going to base my year probably off my 3rd surgery. So I'll have a lot more real life things to say other than just data collected.
Mythbuster. Less hype, more help.
So what is a mythbuster this week? Well, it's kind of personal for me. Is the myth I need to bust is that surgery is a miracle cure, because it's not. And the physical outcome, the aesthetic outcome I get may or may not be what I want. And this disease isn't only about aesthetics, even though that's where in the lowest, darkest moments of my life I go to is the aesthetics, how I look, and that will negatively impact me, especially the last few years since I look totally different than I did before that. It was like I have a 2021 before and after dramatic difference. And I really need to do my own myth busting It's probably more of a paradigm shift, but really that this liposuction is about pain reduction and about increased mobility, not about aesthetics. Feel good flow time, micro moves, macro reliefs. Let's breathe together. So my feel good flow today is something that I just need to do. I just need to take a break every 5 minutes and shake out my body. Sometimes I'll take longer than 5 minutes, or it'll go like an hour, but max an hour, between 5 minutes to an hour, because I have a lot of nervous energy because there's a lot of unknowns coming. So how you do that is just, if you're sitting, stand. If you're standing, you could stay there or you could sit. Or you can lie down and just start with your fingertips, start shaking your hands, and allow the shaking to go all the way out through your body, through your spine, through your hips, through your knees, through your feet. Just allow that vibration and the shaking just to kind of loosely, especially if you have upper cervical instability, like I have, very not violently shaking your neck, just enough from the rhythm from your hands to shake through your body. And do this whenever you're overwhelmed or you need a reset or things aren't going your way. Just give yourself a moment, do a little shake, take 10 to 30 seconds. And then you could do that if you're really anxious or have overwhelmed like I am. I'm setting a timer for every 5 minutes until I start to feel better, and then increase it to a half an hour and then increase it to an hour and then as needed. So just try not to do this while you're driving or operating heavy machinery. This is shared education and lived experience, not medical advice, and is not meant to be. Check in with your body, check in with your clinician, and find out what fits your life. So if you're in a moment where life is asking a lot of you and your body is already carrying a lot, hear me on this. Remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been living in a body that hasn't been understood. So I'm taking this next year choosing care, not perfection, not a guarantee, just care. Trying to go at one of my diseases with love and compassion, but also practicality. I have some theories that I'll share once I start healing about how I'm feeling. I don't want to say them too early for you, but I am doing my own experiment, so we'll see how it goes. And if this episode made you feel less alone, share it with a friend who's in a season of their own that maybe they have a big decision weighing on them, or they might have one or all of these diagnoses as well. And if you're making your own big decision, medical, personal, or just a quietly brave decision, go ahead and let me know. You can connect with me over on Instagram at Lipedema_Donna. That's where I'm going to be sharing my journey daily and saving highlights and saving reels, giving you a peek of what it is really like to go through this with all these comorbidities. And while you're hearing this, it's going to be dropping. I will be in the air going to Germany. So bye, love. See you next week. You've been listening to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Now it's time to remember to be gentle with your capacity, meet yourself where you are, and if this has helped, send it to a friend who also needs a soft reminder and a gentle place to land.
If this episode made you feel even more seen, brought you clarity, or reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question for me? Every month I do a listener coaching episode, and I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, stories, or flare-up confessions to Donna@donnapiper.com. And you just might hear your answer on the show. Until next time, dear body, I'm listening, and I am so glad that you are here.